Yep, it happened. Okay, keeping it another week, playing with it. All right, welcome back. It is day 100 of the San Francisco Stay in Place order. It's Friday. When you see this, it will be day 103. Yep, Monday. Okay, so this week I'm sharing with you a continuation of the hips. Last week we showed you how to activate the rear butt using what Gray Institute calls a common matrix, and I talked to you about real and relative. So this week I'm going to take you through another common matrix, but this time we're going to rotate in the opposite direction. Instead of going over the leg, I'm going to have you rotate inside the leg and put your body in one of those oh no moments. So the advantage to putting your body in that type of position, and notice how my knee is positioned, is that we trigger proprioceptors that may not be triggered in a normal situation, but when you find your body in that position, they may not know how to fire correctly. So if we train them on how to fire correctly, then we have long-term benefits of preventing injury. And that's what our training is all about as an applied functional science, helping our clients or patients train their body so that they can prevent injury and overcome injury. This week we're going to continue with the hip, and we're also going to continue with the common matrix, or what the Gray Institute calls the common matrix. Now remember, last week I gave you some insight into the real and relative motion using the right hip and a common matrix where we rotate it to the right over the leg, at the same time turning on the rear butt. This week we're going to continue with the common matrix. We won't go into more detail with the real and relative, but try to relate what you learned about real and relative last week to the pelvis now turning, creating external rotation in relation to internal rotation. So we're going to start with our hands at shoulder height. I call this the zombie position, or it's the bilateral hand reach position that the Gray Institute calls it. I think they also call zombie position as well. I know Doug does. Doug Gray, by the way. So anyway, we're going to lunge, and we're going to rotate in the opposite direction. Now notice, this seems pretty awkward. I've turned off for the rear butt, so now everything here is supporting me, along with my trunk, my foot, my entire chain, but most of the pressure is right here. This is good because I want to train my proprioceptors on what to do when I get into this position. If my proprioceptors are used to reaching their endpoint, then they can start firing. Some proprioceptors don't fire until you get to a certain point, and that's what we're actually triggering right now. And then we come back. Now we can follow our hands, keep our head straight, or even look in the opposite direction. But for now, I suggest you just go ahead and follow your hands, and don't step too far out, because this could be a high risk if your legs are not strong enough to support you with the movement. So just take a little step and rotate. So here's what the full matrix looks like. We're just going to do one side. We're going to lunge forward, off to the side, and then go to 135. Okay, one more time. Off to the side, 135, and that's pretty much it. Hey, welcome back. Hopefully you got a lot out of the demonstration using the common matrix, showing you how to rotate in the opposite direction. One thing I didn't say in the opening, but I said in the demonstration, is that the real and relative discussion we had last week applies to this week. Instead of internal rotation with the hip, we're actually doing external rotation with the hip. So apply what you learned last week, or I gave you insight to this week's video. Okay, that's pretty much it. If you have additional questions, then let me know. If you want me to coach you a little bit more based on what you've picked up from all these videos, then let me know. I'll be more than happy to do it. We can do it through my telecoach.me service through Zoom, or when the gyms open back up, we can do it in person. Whatever works best for you, I'm here for you. Now, it's morning, and if no one has told you yet this morning that they appreciate you, let me be the first to tell you. I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video.